Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dear all. Welcome back to English session. In our previous session, we were discussing about the farmer's wife, and this would be the concludatory part of this poem. And probably this is the fifth video regarding the farmer's wife. Even though it's a short poem, it has much to deal with, it has much to discuss and to understand as well. So let's get started with the last concludatory part of this poem, The Farmer's Wife by P. Lalita Kumari or Olga, which has been known as a pen name to Lalita Kumari. So in previous session we stopped till page number 84, the first 4 lines, and now we will be beginning with the next lines, the following lines. Okay. I hope all of you are having your textbook with you and you're following me line by line thoroughly. Make sure you write all the important meanings which I have just noted down or listed down below and on the blackboard, and make sure you're going to write it, you're going to underline what important point or aspects or lines which I asked you to underline. And also you need to understand, if you are unable to understand some words meaning or new words are there, you have to Google it, you have to search in dictionary rather and understand the poem. And if you are having any doubts, almost I have listed every difficult and new word from the text, but yet if you find anyone, you can search it in dictionary and you can understand it. You can ask questions me personally, and also you can send your messages in WhatsApp group if you are having any doubts regarding English. And may Allah make our learning easy. So let's get started. She was questioning her own husband. How did he imagine that my back would bear the burden of 4 children? Isn't it? So she's again questioning him like anything. She is trying to tackle him. How did you imagine that I would bear burden? It's true that our crops have been destroyed. They have been gone. Our debt remains. Indeed, our debt has been still there. It still remains. We have not paid it. It's remained. In fact, it's adding day by day because of the interest. Our dignity hit the dust. Obviously, we did a lot of things, isn't it? We did a lot of work. We tried our best, but what happened? It's fate, isn't it? It has been destined, and we lost our crops. We didn't got any profit. Rather, we lost everything, and our hearts turned to water. Indeed, after suffering all these things, our hearts have been turned to water. They have been suffering a lot. But how did you imagine? How did you imagine that my back would bear all this burden? My back would bear all my 4 children, the burden of 4 children. So, farmer and his wife together, they have 4 children. How many children? They have 4 children. They may ask you this question for 1 mark. Please underline that. How did you imagine? And apart from it, the question is very much important. She asked the utterance, the pain, the agony, the straightforward question. That how did you imagine? How did you imagine? How could you even imagine that I could deal this? I could bear the burden of 4 children behind. You left me behind, isn't it? And I have to deal everything now. How did you imagine that I could deal? She asked. You saw your crops destroyed. Before committing suicide, what did you notice is just your crops which has been destroyed. You saw your crops destroyed. Aren't you? You just saw your crops which has been destroyed. What of the harvest of my womb? So you did a lot for your crops. You did a hard work for your crops. They have been destroyed. It has been destinated. It has been destiny. And how about harvest of my womb? Here, harvest of my womb refers to children. So, Nanna Madina crop means our children, isn't it? So, I have bear them. I have struggled a lot to bring them into this world, isn't it? I have overcome all the pain. I have overcome all the difficulties. So how about them? How about harvest of my womb? They are not destroyable. They are living. They have future. How about them? You just saw the crops which has been destroyed. But how about the harvest of my womb, who are living healthily, who should live in future? How about them? Did you thought a second for them? Did you had any second thought about them? Had you secured your children's future? Have you did something for them? No. Then what shall I do? She asked question directly, isn't it? How about the harvest of my womb? What shall I do with them? Okay, can I leave them to the wind? Like worm-eaten cotton pods, as you have left your crops to the wind. Can I leave them to the wind? Can I? Do you think I'm that cruel? Can I leave them to the wind? Which are your children? She questions, isn't it? So I agree, all the sufferings, all the pain have not been favorable to us. It's very harsh. It's very difficult to face all these things. It is difficult to pay all the debt. It is difficult to compel all the strength, all the hard work you have did. But what you saw before committing suicide was just your crops. You didn't notice or you didn't thought about the harvest of my womb, your own children. Can I leave them to the wind as you have left your crops to the wind? Can I leave them? It's a question, a direct question. That how could you imagine that I can bear this? Can I leave them? Can I just leave them on their own? Can I leave them to the streets? Can I leave them to go here and there and eat whatever they find? Can I leave them? Is it possible? So it takes one moment to decide to commit suicide. But to stand, to face, to struggle, it needs a firm heart, which I have, which you didn't have probably. You submerge to your problems. You subside your problems. And now, I have to deal with them. She asked questions. You saw your crops destroyed. What of the harvest of my womb? Can I leave them to the wind? Like worm-eaten cotton pods? Can I just leave them to the wind? Like worm-eaten cotton pods? Let me read the entire poem here. Like worm-eaten cotton pods, it takes a moment to die. It only takes a moment to die. But open your mouth and ask. And open your mouth and ask, what of this? Why is this? Needs a firm heart. It requires a firm heart to stand tall and face all the problems. To teach my children to clench a fist. To teach my children a clench a fist, not merely for a handful of rice. Not merely to a handful of rice. In the battle. So she compares her life to a battlefield now, because it is. But in the battlefield, I must live. I must live. I should live. I shouldn't think like you. I shouldn't embrace death, but life, she says. I must live. I must embrace life, not death. I must embrace, I must reach, I must hold life, but not death. Embrace life and the struggle for life. I must embrace life and struggle a lot to have life, to live life, to have a peaceful life, to face all the problems. I need strength and I will live. She becomes optimistic here, isn't it? At the beginning, when she was addressing, she was pessimistic. I was sinner. I was born with head bent. I was born with hand outstretched. But you are a man, you cannot do that. But I cannot bend your head because you are a man. But what about me? I was born with head bent and I have to live with hand outstretched. She becomes optimistic now that I must live. I must live. I must live and embrace life but not death. She becomes optimistic and she says embrace life but not death. So let's get started with elaboration of these points. We have left very short paragraph now, like two paragraph rather. So it would be easier for you. So I'm just simplifying as simple as possible so that you could understand the main ideas which has been projected indirectly. So you may say this is just farmer's agony, but here in every inch of this poem, Volga is trying to break the entire patriarchal thoughts that people consider man as superior, women as inferior. People consider that man can overcome anything and women cannot. That's why she has to stay at home. But when it comes to reality or the practicality of life, it's women who overcome all the things. Whether her husband abused her, whether he kicked her, whether he mentally abused her, whether he physically abused her, whether it might be the criticizing nature of society, whether it might be the demanding in-laws, whatever it might be. It's women who overcome. But look at this man. She thought he is but a man. But did any manly act with committing suicide? It is not. So it clears our mind. So it's clear now that man who has been regarded as strong, how much strong, when strong, how much could he deal? We all need to ask all these questions. And when they say women is weak, how much weak? It has always been regarded that man is strong, but women is weak. Emotionally, loser, rather unable to take decisions, rather. So no, not take decisions, but unable to take or unable to handle things, but it is as a whole inferior, but superior. Strong, capable, can make decisions, can do whatever, overcome. So these are the stigmas, these are the things which has been associated with man and woman. But when it comes to practicality of life, it is difficult to judge, and it is difficult to decide what is right, what is wrong, isn't it? So it is all that these stigmas are depends. These stigmas are these association depends on the person rather. It's just not like man or women. It has everything together, isn't it? Vice versa. Even man cannot take sometimes decision. Even man is emotional. Even man is loser. particular boundary or a particular gender in a boundary, and one should be called as superior and inferior. Rather, both men and women sometimes become very emotional, become weak, become losers at the same time. Same, both the sex, like both the genders, man and woman, can become strong, can have strong emotions, can face problems, can do anything. So it is the stigmas which has been attached is wrong. They are incorrect. This is what Volga is trying to talk about. This is what Volga is trying to talk about. So these all associations are incorrect, are wrong rather. So I would say that women is more stronger than men, but they are equal. They can do what men can do, and probably women can do what men cannot do. We need to complete each other. It's not the race that I am better, you are better, but we are all better because we have been created by God. The same things have been given to you as well as me. The same thought process, the same strength and weakness. So it's man or women. No, it's people, it's human being. So this were the attires which has been indirectly taught by Volga. So let us complete this one and let's talk about this one as well. So she says, can I leave them to the wind? So you thought that I could deal this problem. How can I deal this? How can you imagine this? Or how can you think this? That I could deal, or I could bear the burden of 4 children to bring them up. So ನಾಲ್ಕು ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಒಬ್ಬಳು ತಾಯಿ ಸಾಕೋದು ತುಂಬ ಕಷ್ಟ, isn't it? So how can you imagine it? Can you imagine? How can you imagine this? Or how can you think of it? It's not that easy. She says, can I leave them to the wind like you have left the cotton pods? Can I leave them to the wind like worm-eaten cotton pods? ನೀನು ನಿನ್ನ ಹುಳ ಬಿದ್ದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾಟನ್ ಪಾಟ್ಸ್ನ ಹೇಗೆ ಗಾಳಿಗೆ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಐ ಲೀವ್ ಮೈ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಟು ಲೈಕ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್? ಅದು ವೇಸ್ಟ್. Nobody will buy your worm-eaten cotton crops. But how about my children? They are living beings. They want food. They want respect. They want everything which is required for a healthy life. But open your mouth and ask. It takes a moment to die. It takes only a second or a moment to die. To make that decision. I am unable to do this. I should commit suicide. It is cowardice. Those people, people who don't have self-confidence or self-sufficiency, they only commit suicide. But you are a man. I thought he is but a man. Again the stigmas, isn't it? So she says, can I leave them to the wind like worm-eaten cotton pods? Can I? No, I cannot. It takes a moment to die, she says, isn't it? One moment to make a decision and to die, to inhale poison and to die. But open your mouth and ask. ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕ್ವೆಶನ್ ಕೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಫೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, to stand tall, to stand strong and ask question. What is it? Why is this? It needs a firm heart, isn't it? It needs a strong heart. It needs a very strong, very firm heart to face all the problems. To overcome all the problems, all the obstacles of a life. Needs a firm heart. She says, to teach my children to clench a fist, not merely a handful of rice. But now, I'm not going to repeat the same mistake which you did. I'm not going to poison my children. I'm not going to poison myself. But I will embrace life. I will reach life. I will choose life than death. Because I know I can deal it. I have that strength with me. God will help me, isn't it? I myself can help myself, isn't it? I can help myself. She says, it needs a firm heart. And definitely, I will make my heart firm. I will make my heart so solid that it could deal everything. And I will also teach my children. I will teach my children to clench a fistful of rice. I will teach my children to clench a fistful of rice. Clench andre mushti. ಕ್ಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಥರ ಕೈಯಿಂದ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅಂದಾಗ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ರೈಸ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ವೆರಿ ಲೆಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟೀಚ್ ಮೈ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಟು ಕ್ಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಅ ಫಿಸ್ಟ್, not merely a handful of rice, isn't it? She says fist means muthi or mushti. So to cleanse and itkondaga I will teach my children to cleanse a fist, to stand tall. Ili ಎರಡು meaning barutte. There are two meanings to cleanse a fist, which means to show the aspects of strength, that I am very superior, that I can do it, the optimistic behavior, the optimistic projection. At the same time to tell that I can teach my children to earn food, to earn a handful of rice, not merely a handful of rice. I will teach my children how to earn. I will teach my children how to do agriculture. I will teach my children how to produce products or crops. I will teach my children to earn their own food. I will teach my children to fight in this battle. She becomes optimistic here, isn't it? She says, it needs a firm heart, right? So I have a firm heart. I have a strong heart than you. I will teach my children. I will bring them up as possible as good, isn't it? To teach my children to cleanse a fist, not merely for a handful of rice. I will teach them how to earn food. I will teach them how to earn your own food. In the battle, in this battle, this world has become battlefield for me now. I cannot lose. I have to fight. I have to struggle. I have to overcome all the obstacles. And says, in the battle, I must live. I have to live. I must live. I must embrace life, not death. But I cannot commit suicide like you did. I have to embrace life, but not death. She says, embrace life and struggle for life. I must struggle. I must do all hard work to choose life, but not death. She says, embrace life and struggle for life. I will struggle. I will do whatever it requires. I will teach my children to clench a fistful of rice. I will teach my children how to hold on, how to be powerful, how to stand all the problems, how to stand tall in problematic situation. I will teach them. I will deal with this problem, and even I cannot bend your head, even though if you are dead, but I will repay all the debt. I will be strong, I will deal, I will do whatever it requires, and I will teach my children to earn food. I will teach my children to earn food and to earn their own food, so that in this battle I must live. I must choose life but not death. I must choose life but not death. I must embrace. Embrace means to hold or to accept or to reach or to choose life but not death. Embrace life and struggle for life. I must embrace life and struggle and do every hard work. I won't left any stone to unturned. I will try my best and I will choose life but not death. I will bring my children all as well as good as possible. I will teach them everything. I will make them strong, and they will be one fine day will become a man, isn't it? Men, so-called men. Translated by Vasanta Kannamgiri from the Telugu. Translated by Vasanta Kannamgiri from Telugu to English. The poem Chavani Kaadu Badukuni. Chavani Kaadu Badukuni means not death but life. I cannot choose death, but I will choose life. This was the entire poem, and this is the introductory part of this poem, where in the beginning she was pessimistic, isn't it? That how did you imagine, how can I live, your virtues, you're gone, and I'm poor sinner, I remain in Valla Mansha and Hogbate, and get down, I'm still here, what shall I do, how can I do, I cannot bend your head, I cannot, but I was born with headband. But initially she becomes strong, isn't it? Initially she becomes strong, she becomes optimistic rather, and she says, I can teach my children, I can earn food for them, and I will teach them how to earn their own food. I will be optimistic here. And I will be in this battlefield. I must lead. I must choose life but not death. See, she said, I must choose life but not death. I will struggle for life. I will try whatever it requires to choose life. And this is what the conclutory part of this poem, If of the Farmer's Wife by Olga. So I hope you have understood this. If you are having any doubts, feel free to talk about, and may Allah make our learning easy. Make sure by next week I will be sending you the notes as well, and also you need to keep on writing your running notes. Probably by January or February we will be having offline classes if government sends any legal notification for that. So let's hope for the best, and may Allah make our learning easier. Thank you so much.